Hello, and welcome to another episode of the AutoTrader Podcast. My name is Wandile Sishi.
What was that? I'm George Mienie.
I'm cold. I'm so cold. Today is one of the coldest days I've experienced in like the last 2 months. So
Put an
it's impacted
elastic
everything.
band around your voice.
I'm dying out here. It's super cold. I'm even drinking some hot chocolate for the first time this year.
Yo, what is going on? If we're like suffering from El Nino or something, because Cape Town's hot, Johannesburg's cold.
Durban's also cold, so
El Nino.
it could be. Yeah, I did see that. We're expecting some hail today.
It's hailed at my house like 3 days in a row. Small bits, but
Really?
it's hailed, yeah.
Yeah, I had a little bit of hail yesterday, and I was actually driving to go get some lunch at the time. And literally, as I get to the gate, it starts hailing, and I just turned right back because my friend had a BMW individual with individual bespoke like paint and stuff.
Only BMW driver.
Yeah, and it completely destroyed his paint job. He had to take the car to BMW for 8 months for them to refurbish it. So
Might as well build a new car.
yeah, I mean 8 months is a long time
Sure.
for a paint job. It's crazy. Anyways, today, George, we got a super interesting episode. Something that has come about as a result of people requesting it. So we'll be speaking about basically hidden cost of ownership, the best budget cars. Cars are winning the wallets of South Africans, and then ideally, I'd like to get your take on the Formula One weekend that we just had.
Ooh.
Maybe we should start there. Actually, what do you think?
Sure. I'm happy to talk about Perez.
Let's talk about Perez. We had the Mexican Grand Prix. So this was after Texas. So, right around the corner from the last race.
Down the road.
And as you were saying, it's Perez's home race. And he crashed out in the very first turn.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it was his fault.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken ownership of that.
Yeah. So, the nice thing is he's taken ownership. He should have settled for third place at that corner rather than trying to go for it, because that's what he was saying. He's like, yeah, but he's a racing driver, and, he was going for it. Fair enough. But you got to calculate whether at your home race you want to take that kind of risk. Like, was he trying to be a hero in front of his fans?
It could have been that. Look, he did give a great start, to be fair.
No, he did. He got a great start, but there's a bloody car in his way. You can have whatever start you want, Jane, going through that car.
Yeah, 100%.
There was a Ferrari in his way.
There was a Ferrari. I mean, both Red Bulls got a great start. I mean, off the line.
But on both starts, though. On the start after the red flag.
I think Max and Crash,
Yeah, Max got a really good getaway again.
Yeah, 100%. But it was a great race. I think what was really optimistic.
Norris was epic.
He was just driving the pass off that car.
Epic. I was watching, like, what is he doing that's different to the other drivers? He's cutting those corners.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
He's driving like Alonso back in.
He was ramping over those corners. He was just, and that was what was giving him his edge.
It's funny because Maxim was trying the same thing, and that's how he crashed. That's how he got the red flag. So those margins are so small. But Lando just figured it out, and it was fun to watch.
Well, I mean, you got to wonder. Okay, so they've got this ride height problem.
Yeah.
That they had in the previous race that
Charles and Hamilton got
penalized for. Okay, and they were genuinely over the line. So you got to wonder. Okay, so can I gain more of a better lap time by lowering the car? Or by making the car slightly higher, but then being able to drive over the curbs. Because if the curbs are like 90 degrees, right, and you can cut it with one wheel still on the track, you can make that corner straighter.
I mean, you lose downforce, and I think that's why Maxson crashed, right? Because he just lost the rear. So I think there's a little bit of balancing act between controlling, because I think if you go over those curbs, you're going to be. It's a lot slippery than the tarmac.
Yeah, but if you can control that, then
you can get a little bit of an edge there.
I reckon Norris found the perfect combination of ride height and taking those curbs like a 4x4.
Arguably, one of Red Bull's biggest strengths has been exactly that. Ferrari's fast in the straights, but in the corners they've gotten that balance of ride height and just aerodynamic like grip to a T. But,
mechanical grip.
Yeah, mechanical grip. Max went ahead, 16th wins now, so smashing his own records at this point. they kind of gave him the race there, and I was really happy to see that Hamilton was there.
Do you think Ricciardo regrets leaving Red Bull?
I think he's going to come back.
No, I reckon he's going to come back as well. I mean, he's found a path back.
Yeah.
But do you reckon he regrets leaving Red Bull?
I don't think hard to say. Do we think...
I think he regrets leaving Red Bull.
He made a lot more money, though. He was being underpaid at Red Bull, considering his skill. And he was sidelined. So I think for his personal well-being,
I think his path back has actually got him a better place.
I think he could have won the championship, to be honest. But we wouldn't have known that, given the new regulations and stuff. I think if he stayed with the team, he would have been the only contender that could fight against Max.
Yeah.
And that would have been the case.
'Cause I reckon he's better than Perez.
I think he's far better than Perez.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best drivers on the grid. So if he stayed, we would have probably seen him be a better challenger than Perez has been. But at the same time, I understand why he would have left at the time that he did. Makes sense. And of course...
Do you think Perez is going to be there next year?
No.
No?
Well, he's going to be there next year because he signed for the next year, but I don't think the year after, I don't think he's...
Okay.
I think... I'm pretty sure that Danny is probably going to come back.
I wonder if they can buy him out of the contract.
They totally can. That's always an option.
Yeah. I mean, they just need to get more points. And I think, like for a couple more points, you get like $20 million or something. The commentators were saying.
Exactly. And they've won both championships, right? So there it is. Hamilton, I have to talk about him. I'm wearing my black and turquoise today. He came second. And I think that we are almost there. Obviously, we're trying new parts for next year's car, to be fair. But they are definitely getting us close to a place where we'll be challenging next year better. Will we be as fast? I doubt. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. I wonder whether it's incremental, the changes to the cars, or whether they're working on another car in the background. And testing some of the parts on this car.
I think it's that.
Because in that case, when they reveal the car, it might be a totally different car.
Yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see almost immediately that this is a brand new car. Did you see the fight that happened?
The fight?
Yeah.
What fight?
So there was a fight between Ferrari fans and...
no, I didn't see this.
And Perez fights. And basically after the crash happened, there was a Red Bull fan that went and attacked a Ferrari fan.
No.
And a huge brawl just happened in the stands.
I didn't see that.
Please, I'm going to send you the video to that. It's insane.
What, just like Ferrari and Red Bull fans going at it? What a bunch of plonkers.
It was like a football match. It was insane. But
it was
an interesting race. Let's see what happens. I think Hamilton is 20 points behind Perez, so second place is still being fought for.
You know what they say about football, right?
What do they say about game hooligans? A
So
game for hooligans
versus rugby. Yeah. So football is played by gentlemen, watched by hooligans. Rugby is played by hooligans, watched by gentlemen.
100%.
I think Formula One's starting to fit into
exactly that. That's
it's driven by gentlemen, watched by hooligans.
100%. And we won. The Springboks won, which is insane. I don't know where you were, but I was with 30 of my friends, and we went crazy for that. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could have gone either way.
Yeah, it was so close.
It was so close, and it's like almost their 1 point wins all the way through.
Yeah.
But hey, take a win when it's a win.
Champions.
That's
it.
Definitely.
That's
it. And what back to back
champs. Proteas are still at it. We're actually playing New Zealand. I think tomorrow or something at the time of recording this. So it ain't done. We got more fights in us. I think South Africa's on the up. Moving on, talk about cars. More cars at least. So I don't know if you've noticed this around right now, but there's a lot of requests and people sending in questions and just in the news in general about specifically budget cars or cars under, let's say, around the 400,000 Rand range. So I thought maybe just talk about what is the average cost of a new car today. What are we seeing in the new car space a little bit, and just talk about some advice that we can give anybody who's looking for a car and seeing what's trying to unpack there. So for context, I was looking at some research, and the banks say that right now the average cost of a new car monthly is about 11,000 Rand that you'll be paying, which is an insane amount. versus 2019 7,800. For context of the full price, it's about 393,000 rand. So just off of that alone, do you think that we're going to be seeing that stay at that amount? Do you think new cars are going to be getting cheaper?
So there's a few ways to look at this, right? If in 2019 a car cost 7,851 rand per month for finance, what can you buy for 7,851 rand?
Rent.
No, in terms of a car.
Oh, a car, yeah.
Yeah. So, so if you took 7.8 to 11.6, okay, what value car does 11.6 get you?
So the cars that are being sold the most in terms of new car, I have a little bit listed. So it's Joliet. It's about 384,000 rand that you'll be paying at the end. Obviously, if you change, this is over 67 months, 67 and a half months. So it's the cars that we're really seeing. It's the Joliens, it's the Cherries, it's the Corolla Cross, the T-Cross and the EcoSports. Those are the main cars that South Africans are voting with their wallets for, at least. And it's below 500,000 rand. That seems to be the sweet spot across the board.
So at 7,800 rand a month, I just did a quick calculation at 11% interest. Let's do 11.75. 400,000 rand car. Okay. Now, the same repayment, 7,800 rand, at what was the interest rate 2 years ago?
I can definitely check that. I think it was
let's just take a rough guess. I think it was at around 8 or 9.
Yeah, we're looking at about 9.75-ish.
So 9.75. So you could buy a car for roughly 10% more, 440,000 rand at that kind of interest rate. So if you think about it, the affordability of the car at 7,800 rand, that's what people can afford, right? It's not the repayment that's going up. It's the price of the car they can afford that's coming down because of the interest rates.
Yeah.
So 11,000 rand a month for a repayment on a car is just unaffordable for some people. So what do they have to adjust? The price of the car. So that's why the inquiries for the lower priced cars start to go up.
That makes a lot of sense. We're seeing, I think another thing is there's so many things that have impacted affordability. It's not just the price of the car, right? Fuel has gone up. We spoke about it a few weeks ago.
So how do you compensate?
Exactly that.
The price of the car you buy comes down.
Comes down, exactly. Because you want to destroy your inside. Because I think people can probably afford a little bit more expensive car, but the cost of ownership is not just the price of the car.
Exactly.
There's the insurance, there's the maintenance, there's repairs, there's fuel. So many things that we have to think about, and your life as well that you have. That and generally speaking, everything has gone a little bit more
expensive. Clothing goes up.
And your lifestyle can change over time as well. So it's something that people are considering right now, and we're seeing that people are just buying cheaper cars, like you're saying, to sustain either the lifestyle that they currently have, and these other things that are going up.
Exactly.
What is fortunate though, and what's nice to see, that there is a lot of vehicles that people can buy new, which do tick a lot of the Chinese brands that have come into the country have really assisted a lot of South Africans, and we're seeing that in the cars that people are buying, the Joliens and the Cherries, which are fantastic cars and they're doing well. And the used car space though, I think you did an interview a few weeks ago and you mentioned that whilst the new cars that people are buying are cheaper, a lot more people have moved into the used car space and are opting for more expensive cars.
What's one way to get the price of the car down?
Higher mileage.
Is to go for 1-2 year old car.
Yeah.
So you can get the same car second hand at a lower price, guess what? Your repayment is the same as what you were paying in 2019.
Yeah.
And you're still effectively driving the same car. It's just got 30,000 Ks on it or 50,000 Ks on it.
If somebody wants to buy a new car, what advice would you give them?
Brand new car.
Let's say they already own a new car, but they want to trade it in for a car that's similar. But now they're seeing that for the same sort of spec car, it's a little bit more expensive. How do you get around that in terms of when do you trade in, that sort of thing? Because I think a lot of people don't know when's the best time to trade in your car. When is depreciation going to start taking a serious dip? What is the sweet spot in your experience?
So that's a very, very broad question. And the reason is there are so many makes, models, and variants.
Yeah.
That particularly down at model level, supply and demand plays a big part in the price point of the vehicle in that category.
Okay.
It's not a one size fits all. So you can't say that after 2 years you should trade your car in because that's when the value gets to, its tipping point.
There's a lot of those myths online. People saying like after 3 years is the best time.
There's no such thing across every single car.
Yeah.
A VW Polo will have a different depreciation curve to a Renault Megane, for instance. Very different depreciation curve. And that changes. That changes dynamically on a regular basis.
Preference will also impact that.
Exactly. So, for instance, the Toyota Corolla Cross, right? At the moment, it is in high demand. There's not enough supply.
We saw even in the used car space, a used Corolla Cross was more expensive than a new one at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So it happened with the C-Class Mercedes many, many years ago. There wasn't enough supply and there was a huge amount of demand. You could buy a C-Class, order it, wait for it, get it and sell it for more.
Yeah.
Because there was so much demand. So in that scenario, at the moment, if you buy a Toyota Corolla Cross, chances are it's not going to depreciate as much over the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So does the same principle apply? No. But in the next 12 to 24 months, you don't know what's going to happen to supply and the appetite for other cars. So somebody might bring a car to the market that rivals the Toyota Corolla Cross. Okay. What's going to happen to the Toyota Corolla Cross's depreciation?
It's definitely
going to accelerate.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more.
Yeah. So it's a dynamic market. I always say that the car industry in any country is like the stock market. And there are fluctuations in price across makes, models, and variants at different rates all the time. And it's difficult to predict.
For someone who is going for some of these most popular cars, maybe let's focus on the 5 cars I mentioned earlier, which is the Jolie and the
Cherry
4 Pro. Yeah, the Corolla Cross, the VW T-Cross, and the Ford EcoSport. If these are the cars that are the most sought after, in terms of the resale value of it, do we anticipate that they're going to depreciate higher as a result of the fact that there's going to be so much supply in about 3-4 years?
Well, I think it'll be swings and roundabouts. You've mentioned 5 cars.
Yeah.
Right. Some of them might fit into that category.
To your point, yeah.
And some of them might not. I would imagine that these cars, by and large, have seen a really good run.
Yeah.
But somebody might bring out a rival to the Jolion. And then suddenly the Jolion begins to depreciate, but the others don't. And somebody might bring volume to, like a Moda, for instance, at the moment.
Yeah.
A Moda, sorry.
The guys who just bought in the electric car.
Yeah.
It was the something cat.
The something cat.
The something cats. I saw that the motor just dropped.
Sure, Moda's thrilled about the something cat.
Not the something cat.
The something cat. And it's not the Hellcat either.
It's definitely not the Hellcat. Yeah.
What is the Hellcat? Hellcat was, I think
Dodge.
it's a Dodge Hellcat. Yeah. Viper, no? Dodge Hellcat. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the something cat.
It's the. I'm trying to get the real
That's
name.
okay. So that might rival the Jolion.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going to happen to the Jolion in this world? Might just depreciate.
Yes.
So you've got to take a view. And you don't know what OEMs are going to bring out in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, I think you're referring to I just researched the 5 compact. That's okay. It's not the
something
one,
cat.
not the something cat. Yeah, but 100%. I mean, that car when it first came out, I thought it was going to be a massive challenger for the Jolian.
Well, we haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
So what will happen to the Jolian?
Yeah, I mean, it's depreciate. If something that does come into the market that plays in that segment and ticks all the boxes,
ticks the boxes,
then
got good tech, good price point,
then the depreciation will be a lot higher for
then there's going to be demand for a motor.
For a motor, yeah.
Okay, and demand for Jolian.
But a high supply.
But a high supply because both of them are in the market.
Yeah.
And they're both popular cars.
Yeah.
So therefore, supply as a category is going to be up.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to price?
It's going to go a little bit lower.
It's going to go lower. What you bought your Jolian for now might not be what you sell your Jolian for in the future.
100%.
And that goes for any car on that list.
For anyone who is looking for a new car, what should top things that they must always look out for in terms of the cost of ownership? Because I think a lot of people forget that. So we spoke about it before, but I think it's always good to just refresh on those things.
Well, I mean, so my first thing is support local.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can, support the local manufactured car. If it's made here, support the local, because you're supporting local jobs, you're supporting all that stuff. Okay. So there's a couple of OEMs that make cars here. If that doesn't suit you, if that car doesn't, tickle your fancy, then go for a car that has volume, because there'll be more parts.
Yeah.
If you want to go for a niche car, bear in mind that there might not be parts.
In the long term, yeah. And those aren't the only costs. I think about these things such as the depreciation. If somebody wants to see the value of their vehicle, though, how do they know how bad the depreciation is going to be?
Going to be is the broad question. You don't know.
Yeah.
You're never going to know.
Yeah. It just depends.
It just depends.
Yeah.
It's a very dynamic, very interesting, very exciting place to be in automotive retail.
100%. So we actually have an article on site right now which speaks to the average cost of ownership for budget-friendly cars. So if your budget is 250,000 Rand, and we do have, it's a calculator on sites, which the finance calculator. How does that work? How does that work? And if anybody has never used it before, can you give us a little bit of a crash course on what's the value of having this calculator and how do people use it best when buying a used new car?
Well, the finance calculator is like any other finance calculator. You've got cost, deposit, whether you want a residual or balloon payment, the repayment period, interest rate, and the total amount paid per month from the monthly installment. And that's an interrelated calculator. So if you change one value, it's going to change. Yeah. Well, it's going to change the repayment. And it's a financial calculator. That's all. For those people who are not financial gurus, who can use an HP 12C like I can, this calculator does it for you.
Yeah.
Calculates your repayment within those parameters. But if you want to predict the depreciation of a car, I always say you'll get it 50% right. You just don't know which 50%.
100%. There's another question I had for you before I left you, or before I leave you. Man, it's gonna kill me if I don't get it. I'll record it
around the calculator.
It was around repayments specifically. Oh man, I think maybe I'll have to just leave it for the next show. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I have. There's lots of articles on the websites on AutoTrader.co.za. So if you want to see different price ranges, what's the some of the options that we've kind of spotlighted. There's lots of articles that give you that insight that's been written by our journalists. So check them out and tell us what you think. If you have any questions, let us know and we'll get to it.
Before you go, who's in contention for number 2 for the Formula 1 now that Perez crashed?
So Hamilton is 20 points behind Perez. So
after the crash, if I'm not mistaken. Because that's going to be an interesting one, because if Hamilton now is in the running.
Yeah, he's in the running.
Then I think
Perez is like his life.
I think that I'm not saying anybody that crashes is a good thing, but it's kind of livened up spot number 2.
Yeah,
but, driver results.
So right now, Perez is 240 points. Hamilton is 220 points.
240, 220. Yeah, I see that. So next race, if he beats Perez, he could very well catch him. How many races have we got left?
I think 3.
3. It's going to be touch and go, but I hope they put some new parts on that Mercedes.
Yeah, let's keep bringing in the new ones. We need it.
I mean, I didn't support anybody this year. I've supported some races Lando Norris, some races Alonso, some races Hamilton.
That's the nice thing about the season when you have a level playing field. Number 1 is completely gone. Let's forget about that.
That would
the rest of the field
Max was the safety car.
You just refer to him as a safety car at this point. But yeah, 100%. We have good racing now and everywhere else. Hopefully we can just...
Max was the safety car no one could catch.
100%.
Hamilton was always complaining the safety car's driving too slow.
Yeah, so it's going too fast now. 100%. Thank you so much, George. And I'll catch you next week.
See you next week.
Search AutoTrader.